Hello, welcome back to another one of my spotlight on inkers. Often it is very difficult, in my opinion, to talk about inker without seeing the pencil beneath the ink because you know it's in my opinion it's best to be able to see the pencil, the penciling, to appreciate the amount of work and enhancement and improvement that the inker put into the art, especially if you have a good inker at hand. So right here, as the title of this video mentioned, is focused on Bob McLeod. Bob is probably one of the underappreciated inker in my opinion, especially when you're talking about the Bronze Age and Copper Age. Right here in front of us is the pencil work of Frank Miller. Okay, and just look at the incredible work that Bob did. Let me pan it back so that you can see. Just look at how much texture he add into up on overlay the penciling of Frank Miller. It's just masterful, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's look at that. Beautiful. I blocked this out because it's something I want to show you. Look, $40. Incredible. Okay, that's how much the inker got paid. Talking about underpaid, underappreciated. But Frank Miller penciling, as you can see, is very rough, almost like I wouldn't say a rough sketch, but when you compare it to say somebody like John Byrne or Gene Colan, it is definitely not as detailed, so it leaves a lot of interpretation to the inker. And I have showcased Bob before when he did Gene Colan. Okay, on the Gene Colan video when I discuss Tom Palmer. So this is his work on Frank Miller. Absolutely beautiful. So in my opinion, no doubt one of the underappreciated great inker of my time. Here is another picture. Look at this one. This is Bill Sienkiewicz, Moon Knight. And just look at let me pan it out so you can see. Absolutely gorgeous. His inking style is so beautiful. It is very crisp, clean, sharp. Is for me, I always feel that it's the best way to appreciate the inkers is look at something that's black and white, as in this example. As you can see, Bill Sienkiewicz penciling is actually quite detailed compared to Frank Miller. Let's just take a look at the subtle little changes that Bob did that improved the picture. Just look at this, for example. If you look at the bicep, this part right here, this little sharp thing right here, that was penciled by Bill Sienkiewicz, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. It to me, it didn't look right to have that kind of pointy shade right there, but look at how Bob fixed that when he did the inking. So, Bob simply did not just go over the line. He does interpret and make changes to the drawing if he see fits. If he feel that he can improve it, and no doubt, I don't think anyone would argue that this right here, even that little subtle shade right there to give the fullness of the forearm, is better than the original penciling. Absolutely gorgeous. Here is another great example of how good Bob is. Okay, I mean, I can gush over Bob fine inking lines all day, but I think out of all the example I show so far, this one perhaps is the best. Can anyone guess who did the penciling here? It's fairly detailed. It's from John Carter's of Mars, issue 18. What do you think? It's Frank Miller, first work at Marvel ever. Okay, so this is it. So this is what that is quite beautiful. Just look at that. It's almost have a Jill Kane-ish. Look at the muscle. Look at the way the legs are. It has a very Gil Kane-ish appearance, but beautifully done. When I have a chance to do a video on Frank Miller, hopefully I have a chance to illustrate his transformation over the years. But just look at his early penciling work. It is actually quite beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Now take a look at the inking. Absolutely. The best way to do it is to give you side by side like this, but just look at how much he added on to this. Okay, the shading, the light, and how the shadow and the shade, absolutely masterful. Okay, Frank Miller did, this is all Bob right here. Okay, Bob McLeod, he did all of that right there. Look at how sharp this is. Gorgeous. He cleaned up so well. I mean, Frank Miller work is beautiful, fairly clean, but to really appreciate Bob's talent as an inker, just look at that. Absolutely stunning right here. Everything. It's hard to imagine anyone else can do a better job. Let's see if I have, and then of course you have his work with Gene Colan, which is pretty good. I like Tom Palmer, and I have gushed over how well Tom Palmer have pair well with Gene Colan. But if you can look, second best for Gene Colan is perhaps Gene Colan himself or Bob McLeod. Absolutely beautiful. Compared to many other inkers that Gene Colan worked with, there's very little to complain about the work that you see here. A lot of good stuff. Okay, before I go, this is the last of the example. Can you guess who did the rough sketch on this one? Out of all of the examples I have shown so far, this one perhaps illustrate Bob's artistic skills as a penciler the most. Just look, this is a fairly rough sketch. Okay, you can see that's pretty rough. This is Jim Starlin works. Just look at what Bob transformed that pictures into. Absolutely beautiful. Just look at that. So clean, you know, I mean, Terry Austin may be my favorite Bronze Age inkers because he worked with one of my favorite artists during that time, John Byrne. But my God, there is nothing wrong with any of these inking jobs right here. And I am certain if Bob McLeod inked John Byrne during the X-Men run, the result would have been just as beautiful as Terry would have done, or as Terry had done himself. Actually, there's another rough sketch that I think is even better as far as showing his artistic skills. Take a look at this one. That's John Buscema rough sketch on Colan. It is very rough, as you can see. Just look at that. It's better than what we would call a layout. Okay, so it's more detailed than the typical layout, but it's still quite rough of a sketch. Look at the end result. Wow. Just look at what he done, what Bob did. Absolutely masterful. Okay. The more I study Bob's inking, the more I really appreciated his talent, and I think no doubt definitely very underappreciated and often not mentioned when people talk about the great inkers of the Bronze and Copper Age. Absolutely beautiful. Before I go, I put a link to Bob's Facebook page. This is in his Facebook page, and there are tons of examples like this. All of these are on his Facebook page. So thank you, Bob, for such wonderful works, and thank you for saving all these samples, because you know it's so much easier for us to appreciate the level of mastery of inking when we have the rough sketches or the pencil work to compare it with. So big kudos to Bob for saving this work and to have this online. And if you enjoy this video so far, click on the link below, because there are a whole lot more to see. Thanks for watching.